Welcome back to part two with Lemar.
Yes, welcome back, y'all. We are back again. And if you didn't get to check out the first part of Lamar's interview, it gives us our whole backstory of how Lamar grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. And we really went into depth on that one.
Yep.
Now we're going to kind of come into what the journey has been like, whenever you realize that it wasn't the truth and kind of go from there.
All right. So we left off on when you started stumbling across the real information about this organization. And a lot of us had a similar reaction, but in our own way. So we'll ask, when you first realized, like, wait a minute, I've been lied to, what, especially growing up as a Jehovah's Witness and realizing your whole life has been something completely different than what you thought it was. So what was that kind of like?
It was wild.
Yeah.
So the what made it worse was the fact that when you first find out stuff like this, the first thing you want to do is share with people closest to you.
Yep.
So I went straight to the fam and I was like, hey, like, did you see this? Did you realize this? This is what I found. And you were met with a lot of gaslighting. You met with a lot of um, why don't you trust the organization? Where'd you find that material? You find it on apostate sites, and you need to talk to the elders because now you're losing your faith and all of that type of stuff. And you start to realize that once you come across this, you're kind of out here by yourself.
Yeah.
And once you get to that point, everything kind of closes in on you because you're starting to realize that not only am I about to lose my community of friends and people that I know, you're about to lose your family, and you're about to lose essentially what your identity is. Because, for 30 plus years, I was known as a witness, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like picking up the pieces and starting to rebuild again. And I know that takes a lot of strength for a person to meet with that level of cognitive dissonance and come out the other side. And I say that with a lot of compassion in my heart because I know that not a lot of people make it here. Some give up halfway and they're not with us anymore. So it's because I was able to make it here, it gives me a lot of compassion for people who's also able to make it here also. So, shout out to you guys and a lot of other people that I met that was able to say, hey, we made it to the other side and we're still here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I think something to piggyback off of that is what gave you the strength to keep on going? Like what was it that was like, okay, I'm in the tunnel, all I can see is dark, and there's just a small glimmer. I know that it's going to get bigger, if I just keep powering through. Like what gave you that?
I never I never really had the I'm gonna end it inkling in me. Like I just it's that type of feeling don't really occur to me. And I think one of the things that helped me more so was the fact that I was able to find friendships fairly quickly.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like I was able to find some semblance of a community fairly quickly in
Yeah.
people who were either also in the same situation or people who were already out but was waiting to be like, I told you, now come over here. You know what I'm saying? I told you stop messing with them people, but it's all good. So like especially with me being a chef, I work in kitchens, and kitchens are kind of like a social, social environment filled with camaraderie, and all that type of stuff. So, it was always around people who'd be like, okay, I feel you, come have a beer with us and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I never really 100% felt like I was alone.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave me um, the ability to kind of go through the grieving process. And
Yeah.
what helped that with that process also is, videos like you guys, the Lloyd Evans channel,
Yeah.
um, uh, JT and Lady C,
Yeah.
um, watching. I don't think he's on here anymore, but it's like Harrison Colfer. I think his name is. A lot of those videos just kind of gave me um, like the reassurance that I'm not going crazy, and the things that
Right.
Yeah.
I'm finding, right,
Yeah.
are things that other people are finding also.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it made me realize that it's okay to not be afraid of being the boogeyman that they trained you that everybody should be afraid of, right? Like every religion has a boogeyman, and apostates are theirs. And I'm not afraid to be called one, because if being an apostate means that I found out that you bogus, then that's cool.
Take it.
Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it helped
That's a
out
great
that
answer.
I was going to point out how Lamar said he was, in a humble way, a popular elder. You was him. Like when you was in the organization. So even leaving, you already had a likable personality
Yeah.
and were social. And so that just
Mhm.
carried on with leaving, to where it made it a little easier to mingle amongst people. And
Mhm.
food brings people together as
Food
is.
brings people
Right.
together.
Yeah, so that worked out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
let me know what you
Absolutely.
think about this, because I also feel like when you're raised in an organization like this and you leave, you know,
Mhm.
you're like one of the lucky, unlucky ones, or unlucky,
Right.
lucky ones,
Uh-huh.
because you have to go through a lot leaving. And if you aren't blessed to be one of those people who does have like a very likable personality or a bubbly
Mm.
personality, because there are a lot of those people too who have woken up but don't necessarily have
The
the
social.
ability to be like super social. You know what I
Right.
mean? But I think another thing is that when you put yourself as the outcast in your head, because you're going through
Mhm.
all of this internally and within your previously known community, then you kind of can bring that energy with you into other communities and you don't even realize it, because you're going through all of this, back home and with these other Jehovah's Witnesses. But
Mm.
meanwhile, this guy that's over here at your job doesn't know anything about that, but you're outcasting yourself from those people because of everything that you're going through on this
Mm.
other side. So,
Mhm.
like, how is it, do you think that people can kind of compartmentalize those feelings instead of bringing that energy with them into other social groups?
Um, I think one of the biggest ways that I think would help people to compartmentalize and to kind of deal with a lot of those rushing feelings is the same way you have to prove or pseudo prove to yourself that the truth is the truth, right? Is the same way you kind of have to prove to yourself that what you found out about the truth isn't is the real truth, right?
Yeah.
Once you're solidified in that,
Yes.
then it helps you combat a lot of the feelings of um you feel like a lot of the FOMO sometimes, because a lot of people are afraid of living out here because they don't have anything, so they have to go back.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people have I forget what you call it, but imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
Yes.
where they don't even feel like they know who they are, or that they're they're faking somehow. And you have to really solidify that, I know that this everything that I found about this organization is true, because they will tell you that it's a lie. So
Yeah.
once you've solidified those things within yourself, you essentially come to realize that your indoctrination um, set you back
Mm-hmm.
a ton of years developmentally,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
that now you kind of have to figure out how to kickstart those things, not just with community, not just with even finding replacement family, but you know, learning how to date properly. learning how to manage money, learning,
Yeah.
you know, how to plan for the future. Like all of those things are kind of stunted in the organization, and being able to kind of capture those things as quickly as you can would help you realize that there is life afterwards.
That's
Exactly.
so true. It's kind oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say it's kind of like, for one, having knowledge of self, and
Yes.
then, like you said, you basically need a solid foundation, because in the organization you can be swayed back and forth in so many directions. You will be
Right.
told you feel okay, but oh, you're not spiritual enough, and you swayed this way, like, man, now I'm not enough. And
Mhm.
the things
Mhm.
that you may like to do, if it doesn't go along with the new personality, you can't do it. So you're swayed this way. And
Exactly.
so leaving two things, you have to find out who you are and be honest about what you really like.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I like comedy.
Yeah.
It was things that I thought was funny that wasn't funny as a Jehovah's Witness. And I had to be like, I feel like there's something wrong with me. I'm not spiritual enough. I shouldn't find humor in stuff like this, or I shouldn't
Right.
want to watch stand up or
Right.
stuff like this. But
Mhm.
you have to be like, you know what, this is me. Long as I'm not hurting anybody. And then, like you brought up the financial things, everything that you didn't realize you were stunted on as far as your growth, you don't even know
Mhm.
until you know. So something that helps is learning the effects of a cult, because there
Right.
was things that are involved in the cult that I didn't even know was a thing.
Mhm.
Like you have
Mhm.
like human leader. Dang, we did have human leaders.
Yeah.
Or like managing money. Like, man, they did make sure we stayed poor. And so once you kind of learn all the things that the cult does to you one by one, you can check off on the list. Okay, I'm learning how to manage money.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I wasn't social before. Okay, how do I be social? You learn that, and you just take your time,
Yeah.
step by step, because Armageddon ain't about to tear up everybody that's not a Jehovah's Witness right now. So you
Yeah.
got time to just figure these things out at your own timing.
I think
Right.
the fact that you brought up like knowledge of self, I think that that's really important, because we get a lot of questions like, how do I make friends now that I'm out of this? And one of the number one things that I always tell them is invest into yourself. Figure it out what it is that you like. You know what I mean? Figure out what your moral compass is, how you want to be, how you want to, portray yourself, what kind of person you want to be. Because once you start checking off the answers to those questions, you begin to attract the people that should be in your life, not just anybody because, we go to the same church, or, it's like you get to form real, genuine connections. And that all starts with having knowledge of yourself.
Yep.
Because if you start off law, and even finding just a healing group like the XJW community, a lot of times can be very healing for people, just to be able to let off some of that steam and let off like those emotions that you have towards it, and finding comfort within those groups.
Right.
Yeah, because we all feel like an outcast until all the outcasts come together, and it's like, man, now we have a group of outcasts that share the same pain or a similar story. We feel like we left out of our family, but these other 10 people are left out of their family, and now it's 10 of us in the group.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Just like
Right.
you, Chef Lemar, you like cooking.
Right.
So that
Right.
was like another way of investing into yourself, investing into something that you obviously love to do. And then that's attracted other people who also love that.
Right. And it's interesting that, like, you know, I've been pretty much cooking my whole life, and I've never realized that my business can grow to where it was
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
without not being a witness, if that makes sense. Because
right.
Yeah.
a lot of the things that I can now do in my business, I would never be able to do as a witness.
Yeah.
Like even first starting out, my mom would be like, "You starting to celebrate Valentine's Day now?" And I'm like, "This is when people eat, bro. Like I'm making money." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, oh, you celebrating Thanksgiving? People like to eat at Thanksgiving. So this is like
Yeah.
a lot of these things is how I'm making money. But
Uh,
I would X all of these things out as a witness trying to like follow the rules. So,
Oh,
you got to be able to give yourself license to 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 just live life and tell yourself that certain things are okay, you know?
yeah.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
putting that out, because that's something that I would never even thought about, but it just limits you so much whenever you are a witness. And just like you said, those are networking times that you're able to network with people. And obviously more people want to eat during those times,
Right.
holidays
Exactly.
and things.
Yeah, and that would be crazy to be like all these people like, hey, I want to pay you to do this. Nope, not doing Valentine's, not doing it. Nope,
Right.
not doing it. And they look like, man, what's up with this dude, man?
Yes, and
Yeah.
you can market so much better because you could be like, oh, Valentine's Day, bring
Mm.
you and your loved one, have a meal. Like, yeah, you
Right.
get so much better in a way that you would not be able to as a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, and you learn as a Jehovah's Witness, you are so easily influenced. But when you leave, you're like, just because it could be something you don't necessarily believe in, but it's
Yeah.
not hurting nobody,
Right.
and somebody wants to have a service with you, it's simple as like not being able to walk into a church.
Yes.
You may have a business, like you may be an electrician and somebody wants you to wire a church. Oh, that makes me uncomfortable. I'm
Right.
not doing it at all
Right.
because I'm a Jehovah's Witness. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now, I don't keep up too much with what's going on with the witnesses, but I try to stay abreast of it as much as I can for my daughter because she's in between, and I want to be able to be a resource of truth for her. But now I just find everything to be funny. Like
It
I just
is.
would look at this stuff and be like, "Y'all hilarious, man! Like you flip flop on stuff." Because I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to know when the governing body was the people behind the curtain, right? Like I went to Bethel, toured Bethel. I didn't know who the governing body was, but now these dudes are all over TV on some televangelists,
Yeah. Yeah.
like and now they're out here begging people for money and
Mm.
swearing they're not begging you for money, but they still begging you for like, come on, man, like it's hilarious,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. The deleted Tony never told anybody where Tony was. He's right here in North Carolina, in
Mhm.
Lumberton.
I can
Yeah,
that.
Uh-huh. Yep. And
Okay.
it's
yeah,
like it's one of those things to where long as you don't bring it up, eventually it becomes a thing of the past. And then
right,
people just kind of forget about it. Like 1975. In
Mhm.
right,
1976, people remembered that. But as time went on, it's like it doesn't exist no more. It's kind of like the Tony thing.
Yeah.
right. And they start deleting stuff off the website, information, videos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
Even
It
with their
is.
court cases, they started deleting more stuff off of JW.org. And with Tony being gone, they deleted a lot of his talks that he had by himself and things. It's just crazy, What do
Yeah.
you do?
It's just spiraling out of control.
Yeah,
And it's fun.
Right.
It's funny to watch this stuff
it is.
on the outside looking in because it was so
Mhm.
serious. You had to pay strict attention. This was warning from Jehovah.
Yeah.
And now
Right.
it's like watching the SNL skit, like the terrible acting that they do. And it's just like I can't believe people don't they just fall for this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's
And
funny
it's
because
so
I had a
big now.
friend. Right. I had a friend who I grew up with that stopped talking to me because I started growing a beard. Um, and like recently, they just did the transition with the beards. Now her husband's growing a beard. And I'm just like laughing at this because I'm like, bro, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's okay because they told you it's okay. But it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
pick and choose when they want to, cause something too bad to deal with. Like I always bring up, like the family members I know that got this fellowship for some wild stuff,
Uh-huh.
and all I did, I just stopped going to the hall. And it's like
Mhm.
what you was doing, you was out there wilding. I just don't drive to this building twice a week no more. That's it.
Right.
And this
Exactly.
is where you draw the line.
Right.
Right.
Oh, it's so
Right.
easy. I
Yeah.
think we've kind of touched on a lot of it, but like, were there any specific tactics that you had to heal? How long has it been since you've like faded out, I guess? What's that journey been looking like for you?
I would say it's been about 5 years or so since
Okay,
I've
bro.
kind of faded out. The journey it gets easier
Yeah.
as time continues to grow. But I always feel like it's never 100% complete, right?
Mhm.
The
Right.
indoctrination kind of stays. Like I find myself sitting down and starting to pray, and I'm just like, wait, I ain't gotta do this no more. You
I'm
know?
about to eat. Like, I ain't
Right, I'm about to eat, yo.
about
But it's just those things are in you. Like you'll be working and humming kingdom songs, or you'll just be like, second guessing yourself on whether or not this is okay. And it's like it's absolutely okay. Like
yeah.
so the indoctrination never goes, but it's always um, you know, just be thankful for the little steps that you make to be able to get yourself to where you need to be. Like I'm thankful for, getting my business off the ground, thankful for, being able to still have a family,
Yeah.
being able to start and break new traditions and old generational curses that, don't serve us anymore. And um, being able to not be so angry anymore and to be at peace with where I'm at in life. So yeah.
True. I
Yeah.
like how you brought out you have to identify the indoctrination.
Yeah.
Like in moments like you
Mhm.
said, like, wait, I can do this, or I'm tripping. No, I'm right for making this decision,
Mhm.
and just being able
Mhm.
to identify that right there in the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's part of the emotional intelligence to realize what you were feeling and identify the emotion and go, wait, yeah, it's not that. And
Yeah.
like we
Right.
tell people fresh out, we can all relate to the wrath, the anger, where you just tell, man, you calling up moms and cousins, hey man, did you believe? Because we were just furious with all that stuff. And then after a while, you realize, like, you know what? Everybody is on their own time, and they'll get it
Yes.
when it's time. And
If
at
it's
first,
time.
if it's time, and that's something that some people that see our content for the first time,
Mhm.
and they're like, you should go inside the Kingdom Hall and tell everybody. And it's like, you feel like that in the beginning, but the way that the organization is designed, you are already painting this crazy for not
Right.
agreeing with this, and you coming with good intentions to tell people, but they're not ready for it.
Mm-mm.
Yep,
Right. They're not ready
it's
for
all
it.
right.
And also, you got to give yourself license to think for yourself, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Because this whole time as a witness, you don't realize, but you've actually been allowing somebody else to think for you.
Yep.
True.
They did the research for you. You know, even if you have a decision to make, you got to go check with the elders, or you got to go ask somebody what they think about before you make the decision. And now you have free license to say, hey, I can own this decision and make this decision without having to double check with, the the magazines or
Mhm.
the elders, or watch a broadcast to see if they brought this subject up. Like,
Right.
you should have the license to be able to start thinking for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
from do what works for y'all to I'm gonna do what works for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And having confidence in saying that, because I think too, even not even just with, the Jehovah's Witness religion, but with other religions, sometimes there's just like this power struggle where they feel like they need to tell everybody what it is that they have to do. But I've come
Mhm.
to learn on this journey to respect other people's journeys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever that might look like for you, wherever you may be along that journey, it is not for me to judge if you are going on the right path or the wrong path. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's your path, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like so controlling all the time. And I think when you leave a religion like this, um, like the key is almost to relinquish some of that control, and
Mhm.
um, that's what ends up giving you peace too, is like,
Mhm.
okay, I can control the things that I can control only, which is myself, my actions, how I
Right.
choose to feel about things. But what other people do, that's on them.
Yeah. We on
Yeah.
our own
Yeah.
timing. It was a time
Mhm.
to 10 years ago.
Hmm.
This is the path we were on at the time, and we felt right doing it. And somebody else that may have woken up, it wasn't time for them to try to guide us a different way.
Yeah.
It was gonna fall on deaf ears. Somebody could have showed us
Mhm.
all the information, and it just wasn't time.
No.
Versus if
Right.
somebody showed us 5 years ago, we was ready. Like, man, I'm actually about to read what you're talking about, and I do think this is crazy.
Yeah.
So we have
Mhm.
to show that same grace to other people and
Yes.
understand, when it's your time, it's your time.
That's it.
Right. Right.
Is there anything you would tell like a person that is questioning things? I guess you kind of pointed that out too, like
Mhm.
saying, to give yourself the license to be able to do the research and things like that.
I got one.
Right.
To speaking to a Jehovah's Witness right now that's watching this video
Mhm.
at that place that we were when we first stumbled across this type of stuff, what would you say to them right now?
I would say the same thing I just said. Give yourself a license to think about, to do research, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's always funny to me when they talk about your Bible trained conscience. And it's funny because they say even recently, the governing body decided that it's okay for you to use your Bible trained conscience to decide if you want to speak to a person that's been removed or not. And that's not a Bible trained conscience if somebody else has to give you permission to use it or not.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you're actually a Bible student, like you say, a witness, and your authority is God's word, then use God's word as the catalyst for whatever decision making paradigm that you have to use. If
Mhm.
anybody comes to you and tells you that you need to obey, even if it don't make sense,
Mhm.
Hmm.
that's a red flag to me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
And so witnesses really have to take stock of themselves and be honest with themselves and realize that, hey, am I a witness because I'm actually wanting to listen to what God said in His Word, or am I a witness because of other reasons? And that's okay if other reasons, if you want to be a witness and you want to be lied to, and that's fine. But if you
Mhm.
want to know what the truth is, then the truth is staring at you in the face.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, it's just, do you have the courage enough to stand up and say, "Hey, I don't agree with this,"
Hmm.
Yep.
I love that.
Definitely.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all about courage.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's in a nutshell. That's what it takes to get through this process is the courage.
Right.
The courage,
Right.
the unknown is the scary part. When you realize that what has always been the truth is not the truth, the fear
Mhm.
is what am I facing now? It's like this has been lifted from in front of me. What's out there?
Yeah.
And the scary part actually becomes the fun part.
Yeah.
You've been told you have this one tunnel that you can follow, and once you
Mhm.
realize it's not one tunnel, it's 100 other tunnels to look at now. So instead of it being scary, it's like, all right, let me get in where I fit in with this life thing, and
Yeah.
let me just see what works for me.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
everybody in the real world has something that works for them, or they strive to find that, and it's not normal inside this organization. Most people don't have a group of men telling them step by step what to wear,
Hmm.
what to watch, who
Hmm.
to hang
Mhm.
with. Most people just figure it out along the way.
Yeah. And I
Right.
think one more thing is like a question that we get sometimes, and we could see that people are battling this internally. And I think we've all probably battled it a little bit is like, is this worth it? Is this worth like giving up maybe communication with your family or giving up
Mhm.
your community that you had before? Um, what do you think? I know we always say like, to me it's worth it to have the truth, and to be able to live your life truly and authentically because you are choosing to live it that way instead of being put backed up into a corner saying you have to live this way.
Hmm.
So
Right.
how do you feel like it's been worth it?
I think it's worth it for me.
Yeah.
I can't speak for other people because I think it really depends on the person, right? Like, some people have a value system that's built differently, and
Hmm.
they may just think that being a witness is worth it to them,
Yeah.
in comparison to maybe what their life used to be before they converted or whatever it was. I think for me personally, it's worth it because I can't imagine what it would look like if I were to go back knowing what I know now, right?
Yeah.
It would be I would consider detrimental to my mental health. Like I I wouldn't be able to take it.
Yeah.
And there were times where I contemplated it. There were times where I said, maybe I can just go back under the guise of being, this good person and then become an elder again and really be able to help people.
Right.
Hmm.
But I feel like it would only be a matter of time before they find out,
Yeah.
because I'd be the one to give a comment and be like, actually, that's not what, like they would
Yeah.
escort me out in a minute. So,
Yep.
um, but I think it's really about where you are on your journey and figuring out what really matters to you. And
Hmm.
to
Yep.
me, this freedom to be able to decide how to navigate my life matters to me, you
Absolutely.
know,
I agree.
and truth matters, like to be able to figure out what is actually facts from fiction
Yeah.
and be able to follow that because you can prove to me what it is. That
Yeah.
matters to me, you
Yeah.
know?
It
Yeah.
matters to me just to be able to take my mask off. Like, I don't have to show up in this world with a mask on all the time, you know? And
Right.
me going back would be me essentially putting that mask back on because now
Mhm.
I can't speak freely. I can't speak on
Right.
what I truly believe, you know? I can't even give myself the grace to be able to research what it is that I want to research, or if I
Mhm.
want to go get a tarot reading from somebody, I can't do that. I now have to feel
Right.
guilty about those kinds of things, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
I agree. It's
And you
worth,
can't feel bad.
yeah.
You
No.
know, like you can't come in here with that negativity. You got to be positive. You can't even say, I don't think that I agree with what that brother says. That's negative talk. You can't do that.
Right.
So it's so stifling to
It
be
is.
in that type of environment.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to be free. And something I always tell the ones who may be waking up and not sure what to do,
Hmm.
you have always been taught that you owe these people an explanation.
Yeah.
And you don't. And once you come to that realization, it's like a weight has been lifted. So if somebody still wants to have, their family structure, you don't have to explain to them why or what you believe in or what you don't believe in.
Yeah.
You could just, I always say this is a safe one. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm just spiritually weak right now, or I got a lot going on. And just leave it at
Yeah.
that. You could be full blown apostate and they just don't know it. My family
Mhm.
didn't find out until we start making videos like after years of being out. And that's when they
Mhm.
found out. But other than that, it wasn't nothing to talk about, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Yep. And
Right.
if somebody wants to go the rest of their life and not talk about it, you don't owe them.
Hmm.
If you
Right.
want to leave, you don't have to explain why you're leaving if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You can just
Yeah.
be there. I know a dude who's in a full-blown apostate, but he still goes to like memorials and stuff and
He's a
hangs.
memorial
Yeah,
witness.
he's a memorial witness, and he still
Mhm.
will go out to eat with his elder dad and people like that. They have no clue this dude is a full-blown apostate, but he's doing what works for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes people will ask me like, "Oh, you still going to the hall?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I'll go." Like, what hall did you go to? And I'll tell them like some hall out in the sticks that they don't know about.
Out of the
You
booty.
know,
Yeah.
so like that.
Right.
Sometimes they'd be like, "Oh, like how's things going?" And sometimes I just be like, I had questions that, I'm still working through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything's going well, and that's a amicable way of doing it. Sometimes I don't feel like getting in an argument,
Yeah. Especially if they
protect
not
my
willing.
peace.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that
So,
helps out. I like that explanation.
I love
Hey,
that.
mhm.
I go to such and such hall. Leave it at that. And then that also helps, like when you're not direct, like, man, this is a cult. Or you just say, I
Mhm.
have certain questions. Sometimes you bump into other people who in the same boat as you, like, yeah, I
Right.
knew this stuff was fake. And then it's like,
Mhm.
and you get to
Yeah.
chop it up
Right.
that you kind of find
Exactly.
your community.
Yes, you just
Yeah.
have to know who you are as a person because some people do have the conviction to like go in there. They want to write the letter, tell them exactly what it is that, why they're leaving. And that's what gives them closure, where they're like, I've wiped my
Mhm.
hands clean. I am done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it really does just depend on the person.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
some people let them know, hey, I'm out of here. Forget
This is
y'all.
fake.
Yeah, I
Go
don't
out with
hear
a
from y'all.
bang.
Yeah, go out with a bang and just pick your poison.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
so
And
much.
it.
Mar.
No, sure. Absolutely.
take that. Is this
Yeah.
our first actual elder interview?
I can't remember. I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
official, our
First
first
other official.
interview.
Right.
And we didn't even.
Yeah.
Yep, man, we
Right.
appreciate that.
But I appreciate you guys having me on for real, though. It was great meeting y'all.
Yeah, most
Yes.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Oh, for your business, is it a way anybody can reach out to you?
Oh, absolutely. On Instagram, at Chef Lemar, spelled Lemar underscore F. Business name is Amalia, which is after the island, the capital of the Virgin Islands called Charlotte Amalia.
Okay.
And I make modern Caribbean cuisine. So check me out. And book me if you guys need, private dinners, anything like that.
Is that what you do? Like all private dinners?
Yep, I'm a private chef, so I do all private dinners, catering stuff.
Oh, very cool. We might have to check you out
Yeah,
too.
for real.
Okay, we'll make
Yeah,
sure to
sure.
put the link in the description box with his information so you guys can definitely check out Chef Lemar.
Yep.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Man, we appreciate you for tapping in with us, sharing your story. I'm sure, and the thing is, you just, even though you just letting it all out naturally, it impacts somebody, and you just never know who.
Yeah.
Somebody at the right moment is hearing your story, and it's going to impact and change their life.
Yeah, that's the hope. And I want people to know, hey, feel free to reach out. I mean, I'm always willing to talk to people and, chop it up and because everybody needs help
Yeah.
when they're trying to wake up. So I'm always open.
All
All
right.
right, we appreciate you coming through. Make sure you
Absolutely.
hit up Chef Lemar.
Mhm.
We got his info on here. Hit us on our Instagram at Awaken Truths IG, TikTok at Awaken Truths LLC.
We have our healing journals, the regular edition as well as the chemo edition. And that's about it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch y'all in the next one.
Peace.